Have you ever felt an eerie chill slowly creeping down your spine while you're all alone at home? Have you stopped to think about the dark, hidden secrets that might be lurking in the quietest corners of the world around you? Today, I'm going to share with you 4 terrifying stories, tales so chilling they just might steal your sleep away. So, prepare yourself for a journey into the unexplainable, the supernatural, and the deeply unsettling. Make sure you're not alone, because we're about to begin. Welcome to Creepy Stories. In a small town in the United States, there lies an abandoned hospital shrouded in terrifying stories and eerie mysteries. According to the locals, this place is haunted by the restless spirits of patients who died under strange and unexplained circumstances during the 1960s. One fateful night, a group of friends, eager for a thrill, decided to venture inside to record a video. At first, it all seemed like a harmless adventure. But as they wandered through the dark, empty hallways, things started to take a terrifying turn. They began hearing footsteps echoing around them, even though they were completely alone. Then, the sound of children's laughter filled the air, sending chills down their spines. When they reached one of the rooms, they found a gurney covered in what looked like fresh blood, as if something horrifying had just taken place. Suddenly, one of them noticed a figure dressed in an old-fashioned nurse's uniform, standing silently in the corner of the room. The moment they turned to look again, she was gone. Panic set in, and they tried to flee, but just as they approached the exit, the lights began flickering wildly, and an ear-piercing scream echoed through the hospital, freezing them in fear. They finally managed to escape, but their nightmare wasn't over. Later, when they reviewed the footage they had recorded, they discovered something that made their blood run cold. A shadowy figure had been following them throughout their exploration, always just out of sight. To this day, the hospital remains abandoned, but those brave or foolish enough to enter claim that something otherworldly still lingers within. The question is, would you dare to step inside? In a small town in Japan, there is a chilling legend about the Well of Souls. They say that anyone who looks into its depths is cursed to hear the voices of the dead, pleading desperately for help. Most people avoid the place entirely, but Akiko, a young woman who didn't believe in superstitions, decided to confront the legend herself. Along with her friends, she arrived at the well as night fell. At first, everything seemed peaceful, even when Akiko leaned over and peered inside. But as she stepped away, she began to hear faint, inexplicable whispers in her ear. That night she dreamed of pale, disfigured figures crawling out of the well, their hands reaching for her, trying to drag her in. The following day, her friends noticed that Akiko was speaking to herself, answering something that no one else could see or hear. With each passing day, her behavior became more and more bizarre. Then, one fateful evening, they found her sitting motionless at the edge of the well, her eyes completely black. Over and over, she repeated the same haunting words. "Help them. They're trapped." After that night, Akiko vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but fear and unanswered questions. To this day, the Well of Souls remains a place that few dare to approach. The question is, would you have the courage to go near it? In 1985, Laura moved into an old apartment in Mexico, completely unaware of the dark secret that lay hidden within its walls. Among the few items left behind by the previous tenant, she found a porcelain doll with a crooked smile. At first, she didn't think much of it and decided to store it away in a closet. But soon, strange things began to happen. Late at night, she would hear muffled laughter and the sound of footsteps echoing down the hallway. One early morning, she was startled awake by loud banging coming from the closet. When she opened it, she found the doll sitting upright, its head tilted to one side, as if it was staring directly at her. Determined to put an end to the unsettling events, she threw the doll in the trash the very next morning. But the nightmare wasn't over. The following day, she found it sitting on her dining table with a note that read, "Why did you leave me alone?" Terrified, Laura packed her belongings and moved out immediately, leaving the doll behind. But what's truly disturbing is that, to this day, the new tenants claim they still hear laughter and strange noises during the night. What would you do if you found a doll like this in your home? On a desolate highway in Argentina, infamous for its mysterious past, drivers share chilling stories about a woman dressed in white. She's often seen standing by the side of the road, her gaze distant, silently asking for a ride. Those who stop to help her find themselves facing something they'll never forget. Eduardo, a man who frequently traveled that route in the early hours, once shared a terrifying experience. One night, while driving alone, he saw the woman. He hesitated, but ultimately decided to stop. She got into the car without a word, and though he tried speaking to her, she didn't respond. She simply pointed ahead as if guiding him forward. As they drove, the air inside the car grew icy cold, unnaturally so. Eduardo began to notice something strange. Under the vehicle's lights, the woman cast no shadow. Feeling increasingly uneasy, he tried speaking to her again. That's when she slowly turned her head to face him, her eyes entirely black, sending an indescribable chill through his body. Startled, Eduardo slammed on the brakes and turned around to ask her to leave the car, but she was already gone. The back seat was completely empty. When Eduardo finally reached his destination, he recounted the ordeal to locals, who revealed he wasn't the first to encounter her. Many others had seen the same woman, and some had met far worse fates. They said she was the restless spirit of someone who had died on that road years ago, still searching for help that never arrived. Some claim that if you don't stop for her, she follows you all the way to your destination. Others believe that those who do stop may not always survive the encounter. The highway of silence remains a place most drivers avoid, especially at night. Would you dare to drive down that road knowing something might be waiting for you in the darkness? We've reached the end of this journey through some of the most unsettling horror stories ever told. From abandoned hospitals to cursed highways, each tale serves as a haunting reminder that there are mysteries lurking in the shadows of our reality, beyond all logic and explanation. But what makes these stories truly terrifying is that they're not just tales. Many of them are born from first-hand accounts, from people who swear they've lived through these experiences. And while we might try to rationalize them, that lingering question always remains: what if they really happened? The world is filled with places that challenge what we think we know, forgotten corners brimming with energy, where the supernatural seems to come to life. Perhaps these stories aren't as fictional as we'd like to believe. Maybe at this very moment, something similar is happening near you, just out of sight. So the next time you feel an unexpected chill or hear a strange noise in the dark, remember this: some things simply can't be explained, and sometimes it's better not to seek answers. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you're craving more stories to keep you up at night, make sure to stay tuned for upcoming videos. Until then, keep the lights on, and whatever you do, don't stay alone in the dark.